the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. I'm your host, Dave Priest. Get out a pen and paper because over the next 30 minutes you're going to have a lot of information coming your way. Some of that information you'll want repeated, some of it you'll want clarified, some of it, if it comes too fast, you'll want to get it over again so you make sure you get it right. Here's the phone number and all the contact information that you need. It is 808-SOLD. 808-SOLD, area code 843-808-SOLD. You can also go on BlakeSloanRadio.com, and you can email by going to ask@BlakeSloanRadio.com. Sloan, by the way, spelled S-L-O-A-N. That's BlakeSloanRadio.com. A lot of information, like I said, we'll give that number and all the contact info to you again a little bit later on throughout the show several times. So if you missed it this time, don't worry, we'll get it to you in a short time. Joining us in the studio, of course, we do have Blake Sloan himself. Blake, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here. We got tons of great stuff to go over today. We actually got last month's market numbers, the total numbers in regards to January, and we're going to discuss how we kind of compare to how we ended up last year, also how we compare nationally to other markets, and we got also to talk about the short sale time bomb and why every single homeowner needs to pay attention because this can affect you, and there's huge, I guess, things that you need to know, even if you may or may not be in that distressed situation. And we have some huge news for any buyer who may potentially be using an FHA loan, or maybe is looking to possibly do that. Obviously, that's first-time buyers, but the cost is set to go way up. This is something that a lot of people may or may not know about, but we're going to kind of cover that. How does it affect you? How soon do you need to get something done? And because you literally will show it can double the cost of your PMI. Which we'll discuss what that is. And we also have a really cool story. Just this week we helped a client who is facing bankruptcy. They were going to go into bankruptcy before we actually helped them because they were so far underwater in their home, all kind of their debt. And we were able to get that negotiated for them, and they walked away with the check, which is awesome. So we'll kind of talk about that, and that'll be part of the short sale information that we have. But we also, of course, got some smoking hot deals for everyone, how they get VIP access to those before anyone else, and we'll cover all those at the end of the show as well.
Well, short sales is something that people have become really interested in over the last few years, and to make them work for you, you've got to know all the details. It's
so much to it. It's actually a crazy story. We'll kind of go through and just talk a little about it when we hit that, but that's why, most of the average, around 20% in the average MLS success rate. So obviously that's, not very good. In regards to when you're dealing with your largest asset, and some of those, any mistake or ball drop, can literally, just destroy your financial future for years, depending on how it's handled. We're able to have a 95% plus success rate in regards to potential short sales that we had there. Because there's so many aspects to it, other liens that aren't, part of that mortgage, there's so many things that people don't realize, and what is, you're against that ticking clock in your exact situation.
Right.
But like we talked about in previous shows, anyone is going to have major tax consequences if they don't do that before this extension ends at the end of this year. So we kind of cover that. What timelines do you have? And it may not be you as a listener that may be in that situation, maybe a friend or relative that you might want to pass information on, because it's truly, sad to see a lot of people like the ones that we were just talking about. We just got approval for. If they didn't find out about us, they would have just gone right into that without even knowing. And it's a very scary situation. So anybody that may be that, you want to pass information on to them, and we can certainly get them the right information regardless of what they should do with their home.
And you might want to give them a call, because that information is going to be coming your way in just about 10 minutes, so you've got plenty of time. But we got Blake Sloan here on the weekend, every weekend here for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. If this is the first time that you're tuning in, though, just for a little bit of a recap of who Blake is. It's an amazing story. He's been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid, been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, and Realtor Magazine, national publications galore. You've heard the commercials here on the radio station from Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. I mean, if you do just one or two of those, that's great, but he's done all of them. That's right. That's what Blake has done. Now, we've talked over the time about how you and your team work together, and a good portion of your success comes from, a system that you've trademarked and developed to help buyers and sellers. Can you recap real quickly what that is?
Absolutely. And been every single type of coaching and learning program in our industry, other industries, and we're able to fine-tune all the systems to make sure that we can get guaranteed results every single time. And there's most people don't realize in the home buying process, also in the home selling process, there's over 100 different variables that have to be managed from start to finish. And if each and every one of those aren't managed correctly, that's going to be very costly, in either your situation of not succeeding, or, obviously it's your bottom line, your number. And we have two basic systems. One's for buyers, it's called our Unfair Advantage home buying system, and we have our Guaranteed Sold system. Each of those manage every single one of those variables through the entire process to create maximum amount of leverage each and every one. And obviously with the buyer system, we're able to get you access to the best deals, but most buyers don't realize there's a lot more than just searching for homes, right? No one wants to get a real estate agent. They think it's just some salesperson, but there's so much out there that's so important to you in regards to the financing you get. You know, your home inspection, your other vendors, you know, make sure that you're getting access to those deals before anyone else. There's so much to it that you're going through that process. In our guaranteed sold system, it gets homes sold over twice as fast and for up to 21% more money than traditional methods. And again, we compare over half the homes that put on the market in our market here fail to sell, right? You have less than half a chance of success, which is mind-blowing. Most people have no idea. And that goes back to the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller or a home buyer is 100% the agent that you choose, hands down. It has to do exactly, I mean, it's like surgery. You know, it's basically someone's an expert in that situation, expert in that field. It's the same exact thing here where a lot of people think that agents are just a commodity, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Each and every one of our trademark systems, A to Z, are there designed to pretty much protect, make sure that you're in the best position, both negotiation, you know, all your data, all your vendors, to make sure you're helped all the way through the entire process, A to Z, and that we don't drop the ball at any of those processes the entire way.
And I love the name, the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. If something is unfair and it's against you, you never like it. But if it's in your advantage, you kind of like that.
Absolutely, that's right. I mean, this is I want to say it's a game there, but hey, look, this is business. This is your largest asset, and you know, you want to actually have the best people. And we, hands down, we were talking, going through the name and all that stuff before. But hey, look, this step by step is create unfair advantage every single time, right? Because we reverse engineered for every single one, and we plan to win, right? So we reverse engineer every process, every step to make sure that we can proactively manage those. We're able to create that maximum leverage at every single aspect. Where, you know, the average agent sells 3 or 4 homes a year. You know, it's the same thing. If you go shoot a few basketballs every once in a while, you're not going to be able to do the same exact thing. And that's the one advantage that we have with our team and of all these systems that we have to make sure we help both buyers and sellers in the entire process.
All right. Well, tell you what, we're going to take a quick little break here right now. When we get back, we're going to talk some numbers and some info, kind of real estate update, see what's happening through the area and through the country, and also what's happening locally, interest rates, etc. That's all coming up next. Part of the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Again, if you need more information on what you're hearing today, call Blake at 843-808-SOLD, or you can go onto the website at blakesloanradio.com.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you want
How many?
Myrtle Beach,
How many are we in?
marketing plan of the
After this commercial, we'll be at about 9 minutes in.
Okay, so we're doing good then.
Yeah, we'll be fine. That's why I went ahead and asked a couple of little things to kind of pad it out a little bit.
Perfect. All right.
been capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why, on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguaranteed.com. blakesguaranteed.com. And be sure to listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Sunday morning at 9 and Saturday mornings at 8.
Welcome back into the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. I'm your host, Dave Priest, here on Hot Talk 99.5. WRNN. There's a lot of numbers that we always talk about as far as real estate is concerned. We'll get into some of the mortgage rates, interest rates coming up in just a second, but a lot of updates. You got some January numbers for us?
Yeah, finally, and that's kind of the one thing everybody was kind of looking at and watching, you know, because we obviously ended up in 2012, very good. Actually, we had double-digit sales growth for both single-family homes and condos for the whole year, and January is another solid month. With that, obviously, there's a seasonal downtick, I guess you'd say, in regards to sales, where everybody's trying to squeeze them in there before the end of the year. But regards to actual year-over-year difference, look at the numbers right here, where it's January levels up 3.5% from 2012 and 16.3% from 2011, which is awesome for single-family homes. We saw a significant increase in inventory, obviously new listings that hit the market, and that's pretty much, we talk about this over and over for weeks. What does everybody do? They wait till the first of the year to list their house, right? So, that wasn't too bad, but a big increase in regards to inventory first year is typical. It happens pretty much every single year. But in regards to the median sales price, it fell to $160, and that's 4.8% below the average of 2012. We talked about that and months before. Where now we're seeing those sales come up, and obviously what follows increased sales that are consistent is finally, the supplies come down. It's kind of meeting that demand, which in turn obviously will lead to hopefully the sales prices, creeping up. We're pretty much looking at it where we're creeping at the bottom and hopefully making that uptick. It's still very fragile, like everybody says. The one good thing too for condos is condo inventory. Their levels have tightened, and the level of inventory is 13.5% below prior year's level. That was a big concern because there were so many condos in the market. That's why they saw a larger decrease in regards to their median sales price previously. But the one good thing about that, they kind of tick the same way where January volume was at 7.1% compared to 2011 and 2012 levels. So that's kind of a whole thing where their decrease of January this year versus January last year was 7.9%. So it's a little more, but that's typical. The good thing here, though, is you're seeing the condo inventory, it tightened up a lot more. So big difference there. That's a good thing that's helpful as well. And obviously that's fueled by some of the low interest rates that we're still having.
All right, well, speaking of interest rates, where are we right now?
It's right where we talked about, which kind of not scary, but it's still very, very good. It's still, record lows in regards to most everyone's lifetime here. But rates this week, the primary mortgage market survey is 30-year fixed rate 3.56%, 15-year fixed rate 2.77. Just looking compared to last week, though, last week was 3.53%. So you're looking at that little, went from 3.53 to 3.56. But what's interesting, you go back to January 3rd, first week, we announced that there, that was 3.34. So we're seeing it creep up like we talked about. So anyone that's looking to buy, like we talked about for show after show, you can check it on the website for the older ones. Your buying power every single time those rates go, and 1% increase is massive in regards to what you're looking at payment-wise and what can affect you long term.
I mean, you're just looking at this, not talking 1%, but we're talking hundreds of a percent, but still.
And it just keeps stacking up.
That's a lot of money.
Absolutely, and that's what we talked about. We're in this year. They're saying, looking at 4% plus, and we're seeing it creep like that, and it's only a couple months in. So that's that clock we were talking about earlier. Hey, look, and it's crazy because people say, well, has it hit the bottom yet? This and that. Well, you know what? You're costing yourself a lot more money in regards to and that's the one thing that we talk about back with the expert stuff. The number one most mismanaged variable in the home buying process is interest rate. Right? They don't really look at that. They what's it cost? What's it this? But no one really looks at that, and that's why we make sure we do, because there's such a massive difference in what those little tenths of percent can mean when you're paying over 30 years.
Right.
So we're gonna keep watching that, but definitely it's right in line with what we predicted, what everybody else has said too. It's still great rates. It's still unbelievable, but definitely gonna keep watching that. But that clock's ticking, and definitely want to take advantage of those deals out there.
Especially if it's gone up 0.2% in just about a month and a half.
It's crazy, isn't it? So it's still creeping up. That's what they said. Hey, look, it's going to get to 4+ by the end of the year.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll keep our eyes on that, and obviously, if you want more information on that, you can call Blake Sloan anytime at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. And also get in touch with him if you'd like to email about anything you're hearing this morning during the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. The email address: ask@blakesloanradio.com. Ask@blakesloanradio.com. Again, Sloan spelled S-L-O-A-N. And of course, just the website. If you just want to go there and kind of follow along with all the information that we're talking about today, because it all gets posted up there. It's BlakeSloanRadio.com. BlakeSloanRadio.com. Back with more of the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan coming up in just a second here.
Hello, Myrtle Beach. It's Glenn Beck. And if you need to sell your property,
About 11 minutes.
you don't have to.
When we get back from this, will probably be about just over 15.
Oh, cool, all right.
Liberty right in your backyard. Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group that guarantees to sell your property at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake is going to pull out his checkbook and buy it himself. The Wall Street Journal ranks Blake among the top 100 real estate agents in North America, and I personally met Blake, and I can tell you that his national marketing program is unparalleled. Most agents in Myrtle Beach, they stick a sign in your yard, maybe a few balloons, and then they hope the buyer finds you. But Blake spends tens of thousands of dollars tracking buyers from all over the world that come to Myrtle Beach. That helps his property sell fast and for top dollar. Blake gives you the option to get out of your contract at any point if you're not happy with his level of service, but you never will. He's the real estate agent I wish I could have called, Blake Sloan. Call him now at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD, or visit Blake's website and see his interview on NBC. That's BlakesGuarantee.com. Or listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 8 or Sunday morning at 9.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan on Hot Talk 99.5, Hot Talk Morning Show. BlakeSloanRadio.com, the place to go to get all this information. Also, you can give them a call at 808-SOLD. That's Blake Sloan from the Sloan Realty Group. And welcome back in, Blake.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the big things that we were talking about earlier in the beginning of this show, and the fact that we've actually mentioned in the last few shows as well, and something that's very hot and people want to still get more information about, is short sales. So give us all the latest on that and why you need to do it now.
Yeah, definitely. Like we covered, in previous shows, that there's a ticking time bomb in regards to anyone that may potentially be in that situation. And like I said, it's just important to make sure that you evaluate it to say, okay, what are my options here? What is timeline and how is it going to affect me? But the big key here, obviously, remember the big, the negotiations they did in regards to all the tax, extensions and things at the end of the year, the fiscal cliff. Well, guess what? Part of that was that mortgage cancellation relief, where they extended that till the end of this year, right? So that expires January 1st, 2014. Well, that's basically an extension of a law back in 2007 that pretty much said that the debt relief on loan modifications, short sales, and foreclosures were no longer taxable. But once that expires, and everyone pretty much agrees they're probably not going to extend that. Let's say you had a $200,000 house, you short sold it, or even got foreclosed on, sold for $100,000. Guess what? You get 1099 tax on that $100,000 difference that you technically don't have or didn't make. Huge thing there. Well, everybody said, well, hey, it's only February or March pretty much. Why does that affect me? Because it can take so much longer that people don't realize. We've had a couple that have taken over a year, some taken 2 years, because there can be other certain liens that are there, multiple mortgages, other things that we can kind of talk about. But that tax advantage there is huge because you're not sure what they may accept, because you could put on the market. Let's say it takes a month, 2 months to get an offer. You submit that to your bank for that. They deny it and say, you know what, we won't take that price, but we'll take this price. Then you got to put it back on the market again. Hopefully get another offer there, get that amount, and guess what? Then you got to get approval again. Make sure you close. So that, like I said, there's that ticking time bomb there, and we're talking a massive, huge thing where, any extra. Let's say whatever your tax at, whatever percentage is, whatever your income is, you add an extra $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in net income on the end of that. I mean, that's detrimental to anyone. Then you're looking at, IRS tax liens, things like that. And obviously, I'm not a tax specialist, but we're just kind of giving some basic information in regards to what we experience, what we've seen from our real estate side. But the urgency of homeowners, anyone that may be possibly struggling with your mortgage, anybody thinking about maybe doing a loan modification or principal reduction, there's a lot of programs that people don't even know about out there. And we've seen a lot of banks, even recently, and we'll talk about this probably next week too, they implemented more systems that have a faster process because they've taken months in the past to even get answered because they've been so backed up. And they put more staff in place, and they had more systems there. But like we were talking about, that it's all got to be very, very systematized. They're getting so many of them. We make sure our packages are perfect. We have a full-time loss mitigator that negotiates with these banks. That's why our success rate is so high. And I literally flew around the country, met with people who work for these banks, other mastermind groups, and what exactly do we have to have? What do we need to have in what order? And like I said, we make it where it's like dummy-proof. Right. It has a giant cover page, and it says like page 1 cover letter, page 3 contract, whatever it is. And what happens, it gets to the top of the stack because you know what? It's easiest for them to process. And you're looking at, 30, 40, 50 documents minimum a lot of times you have to supply for them. And we make sure we have systems. We create our own software to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks, all the deadlines are hit, all that stuff to make sure that we're doing that. But the biggest thing people don't realize is that clock's ticking, and they can take up to a very long time. And one really cool thing, I was going to tell that story, this past Wednesday, we just got one of our clients approved, and check this out, they got approval on their property. Before they met with us, they were actually considering bankruptcy, and you're about to kind of see why. But with that, this example here, we got a final approval this past week on Wednesday for their short sale. Everything's there, basically just waiting for the final closing now. They owed $234,000 on the property, and we got the short sale approved by their bank at $157,000. So, that's what the current market would bring. We were able to get that sold. And basically, we were able to get that bank to accept $77,000 less than what was on the mortgage, and there's no deficiency there at all. Right. And that's it's crazy, difference in regards to there's no telling what it sell for at the foreclosure auction. They could possibly go after deficiency a lot more. It's much, much better in those regards. But check this part out. This is even crazier. And this right here is where the average agent would drop the ball or sink the ship. So we got the short sale part approved, right? But not only did we get the short sale, we were able to negotiate off 2 IRS tax liens, right, a medical lien, a credit card lien, and a separate judgment. And we were to get all those released without the seller having to bring one single dollar to the closing table. Wow. And that's where a lot of the disconnects happen, because what happened oh, well, your bank accepted this. Well, what about these other 5 liens that are out here? The HOA liens, whatever it may be, because you can't sell that property. And we're very, very skilled in regards to make sure we can get that done. We get all those negotiated, all those released, and you know the best part? The sellers got a check for $3,000 at the closing table for relocation assistance from the bank that we were able to negotiate in there for them.
Wow.
And we mentioned on previous shows, we got one seller who short sold their place and got a check for $30,000 from the bank. Theirs was Chase Bank that time. But there's so many things out there, and this is just one of them this week. And these people had no idea there's these types of options. I couldn't imagine, facing that weight of your $77,000 underwater. You're paying a payment obviously you can't make anymore. You have IRS tax liens, multiple medical liens, credit card liens, separate judgment. I mean, it's almost like, and now that stuff is gone.
Right.
We're able to get that release and negotiate because their leverage with that lien is against that house. Well, we're able to get that there, and now they're pretty much free from that, and they got money. So it's mind-blowing, and nobody really knows about that can be done. Most of them just kind of give up, stick their head in the sand. So that's why I say it's so important. Hey, look, if you know somebody, at least just reach out to them. Hey, look, here's information. Here's a story here, and we're more than happy to, we're no hassle, no obligation, give you free information. We even put that free loan modification kit on our site for anyone that wants to do it. But the other thing is anybody that is there strategic default? Some people say, look, my house is, I owe 300, is worth 180.
Right.
We're burning through our retirement. And we've seen a lot of people do that where it's more just a strategic way because you could literally go rent a house on the street, for half per month or even less than that. And we've had people who bought within months of doing a short sale. It all depends on exactly what credit situations are and things like that. But anybody needs to sell quickly too that may or may not be underwater, or they just may be behind on payments. We've had that happen too. But we have our own quick sale system. That's part of that guaranteed sold system.
Right.
We get you off in less than 24 hours. We have hundreds of buyers that are sitting there waiting for deals like that. Much of them are professional home buyers. We have investment groups. All those things that are part of our clients that we're in alignment with. Because guess what? That's not a bad deal for someone to pick up a great deal that was worth $274, and they got it for $157. $234 to $157. It's a great deal for those buyers too, and that's the other things we're talking about. The short sale purchase may not be as sexy as a foreclosure, with that, but there's so many deals like that out there for people who want that right investment property or in their right area. And that's one thing that's huge. Where you go on the site, you can get access to these deals before anyone else. And also, anybody, just reach out, submit your question online. We're more than happy to look at your situation and give you that best expert advice possible in regards to get you the best outcome.
All right, well, short sales, you got the experts there at Sloan Realty Group, and if you need more information, obviously, the same phone number applies, 843-808-SOLD, that's 843-808-SOLD. You could also go online to BlakeSloanRadio.com to get all that information that Blake was just giving you. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about FHA loans, and still coming up before the end of the show, the smoking deal of the week. That's all coming up as part of the show. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, you
Short on
are
time?
in Myrtle Beach.
We got 5 minutes or something?
Time-wise, when we get back from this, it'll be about 5 minutes total.
That's fine. I'd much rather go in that than FHA stuff anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more important. A lot of people out there really, they're kind of scared to say something at first,
Beach, so effective at capturing local environment.
Yeah, time-wise, like I said, we'll be right just under 5 minutes when we get back. What I'll do is I'll give you like a 3 minute and 2 minute, and at 1 minute I've got that closing music to play, so I can, whenever you hear the music come up, that'll be 1 minute at that time. So if you haven't gotten into the smoking deal by that time, you might want to wrap it up.
Perfect.
Agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at Blake'sGuarantee.com. Blake'sGuarantee.com. And be sure to listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Sunday morning at 9 and Saturday mornings at 8.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. I'm your host, Dave Priest. We've gone over short sales. We've gone over all sorts of great information. That's all available right now at BlakeSloanRadio.com, or call Blake at 808-SOLD, area code 843-808-SOLD. FHA loans.
Yep.
They're out there. They're available. But what's all the latest information that's there?
First-time buyers, anybody out there, that may be considering that, or, if you're looking to make a purchase as a first-time buyer, listen up, really important. FHA loans, kind of what they are, they're a great way for anyone who may not have that 20% down, 10% down for more conventional type things, where you can get 3.5% down payment. But like we talked about in previous shows, the FHA they're billions in the red. They're in negative regards to. We obviously talked about that previous show, but long story short, they're having to change their setup here to obviously make sure they're not losing more money long term with that. There's more pressure, but they announced a while ago, beginning April 1st this year, the mortgage insurance premium is going to go up from 0.1% to it's going to go up by 0.110% to 1.35. Right? It's not that big a deal, but here's the staggering increase that most people aren't remembering. Before, that mortgage insurance would stop once you had 78% loan to value ratio. Right? So you pay that down. Let's say you bought a house for $100,000. As soon as you owed $78,000, right, you wouldn't have to pay that extra mortgage insurance every single month. Right. Well, after that date, that mortgage insurance now is going to go for the life of the loan. So that's huge. It's almost like sneaking on the radar, but that's a big difference for anyone that looks to keep their home and have a family and have that for the more than 10 years. And if you're looking at the numbers, let's say you use an example of $175,000 purchase price. They put 3.5% down and let's say 4% mortgage. Well, overall the term before you would only pay $20,838 over that entire thing. Well, now after that you're going to pay $42,447. Double pretty much in that example there. That's an extra amount just in that one little part, and that's a big thing that people definitely want to pay attention to. Urgency there. So that's starts 6/3. Again, when you're looking to find a house, there's obviously 45 days. I think the average that we saw recently, the average in America, 48 days from loan to close, loan application to close once you have a contract. So that's the thing to pretty much look at 3 months now roughly, and you definitely want to be on the ball. We can help you get that with the right lenders who are very knowledgeable, can make sure you can get that. Another thing that we talked about there, most people don't pay attention to interest rates or those details like that. They're worried about purchase price. We got that part nailed down too. Get you absolute best deals in regards to those. But the one thing that people just kind of really realize, anybody that plans on keeping a house more than 9 years and 9 months with normal, the amortization there, that's costing you more money. That simple, right? So that's what you're looking at. But man, it's a huge thing where mortgage insurance, it makes a big difference in your monthly payment. People don't really kind of think about that a lot of times. But you're looking at 1.35% of your loan, of that amount that's being broken down there. That's a big difference. So anyone out there, first-time buyers, it's a great tool to get people into homes with only 3.5% down, where before, you're looking at largers there. So definitely if you're thinking about buying something, give us a call. We can get you expert advice with that, get you absolute best lenders. Who obviously, with the amount of volume that we do, we've negotiated, we searched around and found the best lenders who can lend the most money for the best rates depending on situation, and they're willing to give a discount certificate to all of our clients just for us being able to refer them, and that's a big thing that helps our clients all through that entire process. It's also part of the Unfair Advantage home buying system. So that's a breakdown there. Any question, you can post them online. We can definitely help there as well with that.
Well, FHA loans have been, a lot of people have been doing those for decades, and so that's great information. Okay, we've got just about a minute left in today's show. We can't leave our shows without finding out the smoking hot deals of the weekend.
Tons of them too, but everybody, each week we do these because we have multiple, so many deals. We're large foreclosure brokers in the area. We have tons of short sales, tons of deals. But with that, many properties sell within hours of hitting the market, literally. So it's very important. That's why our Unfair Advantage program is so great. Get you access the minute they're listed. If it comes on 12 o'clock at night, it's in your email the next minute. So we have one here, just foreclosure deal on the waterway with a pool. It's right in Carolina Waterway Plantation. A gorgeous Mediterranean style. It's giant. Has a boat dock. Awesome deal. All information on that. Plus we have another one, and we have 30 to 50 properties right now coming on the market. So since we're out of time, just go to the site, and we post a link to that listing there too. And you can get access to all those before anyone else.
Fantastic. Blake, thanks for being with us again this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. It's Blake Sloan from the Sloan Realty Group. Of course, if you want more information about anything you're hearing today, like you said, go to BlakeSloanRadio.com. That's BlakeSloanRadio.com. Email ask@BlakeSloanRadio.com. And, of course, you can